Welcome everyone to Visionary Psychics. I'm Sara Wiseman and I'm here today with one of our visionary psychics, Karyn Burke. Karyn, welcome.
Hi. Hi, Sarah. Thank you.
Yeah, very glad to have you here. Um, Karyn is a magnificently gifted energy healer in addition to being an intuitive that works in the kind of process we do in Intuition University. And I'm just wondering, Karyn, if you could tell us a little bit about um, kind of like your energy healing practice and then how that sort of dovetails into how we work, like how those work together.
Okay, well, I'm a long distance healer, and how I have learned how to do this is that I work with the wisdom areas of the body that are within us. Like I work at the wisdom area of the heart, the stomach area, the pelvis, your legs and feet, and I gather that wisdom that I've been trained to do with that and be able to heal, because I've learned that with the chakra areas that we have in our that are aligned with this is all also where the wisdom area is. And it's like your heart is the center of your wisdom. It speaks to you. And your gut is your inner knowing. They do say that the system that we have in our stomach area talks to us. It's almost like a second brain. And it does have that kind of um, approach. So I work with that when I do my healings, and I can do that on the internet. I don't need to touch. And how
Mhm.
I'm introduced to this is that I'm into trauma informed care, is because I've never been book trained. I've been life trained. I suffered abuse from a very early childhood, and I was abused. And by doing that, I first had nothing to do with the body. I was just centered myself away. And as I grew older, I found out it's so much powerful to come into the body, because the body remembers all trauma. It's like, if you read that book, The Body Keeps the Score, which I
Mhm.
recommend that everybody reads, is that your body keeps the trauma inside. And so with my distance healings, I'm able to relieve the trauma that is encapsulated in your body. So that's what I do with that. But it's also an intuitive thing, because being abused when I was little, I was always in touch with the other side. My guys were with me from the very, very beginning. I used to call them my invisible playmates. Well, they weren't invisible, they were there helping me survive some pretty traumatic stuff. So I've always had that catch there. I always thought everybody had someone to talk to. I didn't really think it was anything different, strange about it, because I would always have these conversations in my mind. So when I grew up, I found out that I had a more of a intuitive gift, a channeling gift. So with my body knowledge and that I've learned there, I've integrated that with what I've learned from you being in the university that you taught, and that's what gives me like a little edge with your body, and then the intuitive parts to help others that might need
Yeah,
to.
yeah. So you can sort of see like in the work we do like a pre-reading or we get a vision without even seeing the person or talking to them. And that just hones us into like the bigger picture. And then when you start to work on the person energetically, you have that information. Plus you have your guides in present moment telling you, plus you
Right.
have what you're sensing, and it all creates a bigger picture to work
True.
from.
And it's also true when it works, when I come to working with the body and with the energy healing, I will never just tune into that without asking permission first. Because
Mhm.
it's like, if I have a healing and we just want to do with the intuitive, that's fine. But when it comes to bodies and stuff, it's very personal, especially being someone that has gone through that. We have very strong perimeters around ourselves. And so I will never ever go in and do that for a pre-reading on the body until I'm with the person and we're talking, and I'll ask permission first. I'll always ask permission before I
Yeah.
get, because it could be it's to me, it's just invasive unless I get the permission.
Yeah. Well, the person has to sort of agree to be ready to go through the
Absolutely.
feeling and the process. Yeah.
It is.
Well, I think being trauma informed is so incredibly important right now when people are um, instead of decades past where it would just be like in shame and in disassociation, it's like we're finally at a place in the culture where we can look at this and work with it, which is just miraculous. And then to be able to work with a person like you who knows how, you know, who's been through it, and then who knows how to help alleviate it.
Exactly. And it's always up to the participants level of intake, or when they want to do that. They're in charge, not me. And I highly respect that. And I'm certainly glad that we're at this age now where it's more open into the consciousness of this happening, instead of like when I was going through this and trying to heal my wounds back in the 90s, and it was more like, oh, just get over it. What is this child stuff, you know? Just you know, forgive and get going. Well, you know what? That takes time. And we all have our time schedule to get through that. And I just, you know, you just have to respect that. And I think someone that has actually gone through it and done the work can understand that.
Yeah, well, and absolutely, that approach in the 90s was so misinformed and so backwards. It's like, you know, we look at these old techniques, like you wouldn't do like bloodletting techniques in the medieval times. You wouldn't do that now. It's like the same energetically. We have to move along.
Well, yeah, that is in the body too.
Yeah,
in the mind, because you could work on the thing and get it, like you go to therapy and you get it through your mind, okay, with the trauma, but it does reside in the body, and it finally needs, when it gets released through the body, it's gone.
Yeah. I find it so interesting what you said about so a lot of people doing this work, like intuitive work, or a lot of people who are naturally so psychically gifted, and we've talked about this before, but it's this idea of you learn from trauma. It could be emotional, physical, sexual, it could be anything. But a lot of people who were really sensitive had trauma, and they learned how to disassociate really well and never live in their body ever. They just kind of hung out at the top of their somewhere else in the room.
Exactly.
And so, but the gift of that is that we did get to meet these imaginary, well, the world considered them imaginary friends, but they were actual. We crossed the dimension into different lands. And so now, coming back to work with our gifts, we've been doing this since we were little. We just, it's no surprise to us.
No, like disassociation, that was my life the whole time.
Yes.
I mean, I remember seeing myself walking in front of a department store window, and I saw my body, and I'm like, oh yeah, you're with me. I mean, I was with my body, you know, I was just all in my mind all the time. And there you are, you know. But I finally, later on, when I got into body work, how important that is when someone wants to get into it. So you start falling in love with your body instead of hating it and being afraid of it. Just a lot, you know.
And finally, do you find, like, if someone were going to go, so say like the process, which I don't work in, but just as an example, like EMDR or rapid eye, like there's some information on that, like it's going to take this many sessions. Like if you work with a therapist on that, it's going to take this many sessions or whatever. But how do you find the body work when a person is kind of ready to work with you? How does that process go in terms of how long it takes them to feel relief or to feel completion of that trauma? Or what have you noticed? How does the process go?
Well, the process is very individualized, and the EMD is like the desensitization. You know, that is very good. That does work. If trauma is too much, that I highly recommend that. Even though I'm not a doctor, I've had that done on other people, and that's very a good way to get rid of trauma. You know, it's like you have an inner, we call it the inner physician. You have an inner wisdom within us. And when usually by the time people are on their journey in
Hmm.
healing themselves, so they find me, because I think it's always done by divine appointment.
Hmm.
They're
Definitely.
usually ready for me, so they can dig in and start dealing with that at that level that they want, that their bodies, that their inner wisdom is guiding them to. And I just leave it up to that. I just always trust the essence within myself, the essence within others, that they're here as a divine appointment, and I never push. I'm just very patient, and whatever the client takes, I've noticed that what people say is like, I feels like a 50-pound weight has been taken off of me.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to
Yeah.
just walk better. And
Yeah.
it's really individualized, but it's at their point of where they're ready to heal.
Yeah, that's a
Essence of
beautiful
that.
answer. And I love that that idea. It's a divine appointment. Like
Yeah.
you could have like bazillion-dollar marketing and it's all the universe bringing the exact person to the exact
Yes.
person. That's exactly how it works. There's just,
Yes.
yeah.
Trust it
Yeah.
impeccably. That's
Yes.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so everyone who, Karen's information will be down below, and that'll take you to the Visionary Psychics page, and then that'll take you to Karen's personal links where you can schedule an appointment or contact her, or however you'd like to do if you'd like to work with her. Well, Karen, thank you so much for being part of our Visionary Psychic Summit, and really nice to chat with you today.
It was wonderful chatting with you too, Sarah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.